Hello, Miss Hayes' class. My name's Brandon Hayes. I am Chelsea, or Miss Hayes. I am her oldest brother, hopefully her favorite brother. I am sending this video all the way from Dayton, Ohio, where I work. I work for Wright State University in their athletic department. So it's a busy time of year around here, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm here in a really fancy, cool suite. You can kind of see behind me, I've got the Wright State logo, and then we've got one of our black jerseys here. So I'm in a pretty cool spot. I live about 40 minutes away from here in Lebanon, Ohio, small town, which Miss Hayes has been to. Watched me get married there. Kind of what I'm doing today for you guys. I hear you're learning about different parts of the body, and are going to talk a little bit about kidneys. Now, if you would have talked to me, let's say three and a half to 4 years ago, I wouldn't know a thing about kidneys. Wouldn't be able to tell you about them. Now, because of something I've gone through, I know pretty much anything there is to know about kidneys, or at least my kidneys. So I've got a pretty cool story. Back on August 2nd, 2011, I had a kidney transplant. And I'll go through that whole process and tell you a little bit more about it. But I had a kidney transplant in August of 2011. We're coming up on almost 4 years since then. And I'm doing really well. You actually caught me on a good day. I'm dressed up all nice for you. We had a preseason basketball luncheon, so I'm dressed in my Sunday's best today. But I think I look good. I feel good, and it's something I'll never forget. But it's still something that feels like I've been on the better side of it since then. So I'll tell you the whole story. March of 2010, I was working at the University of Memphis, the Tigers. I was sitting courtside at a basketball game, best seat in the house. I was working, and my legs started swelling up. So I had no idea, because I've been healthy, I've been active my entire life, played sports growing up like most of you guys do. Always worked out, stayed in great shape, ate fairly well, but I was really busy, and so I was probably not eating very well. I was eating the Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and that kind of thing. So anyway, at that game back in March of 2010, my legs started swelling up, and not just a little bit. It started. It was almost like if you ever break your ankle or sprain your ankle. That's what it looked like. So I told my friend next to me, hey, I don't know what's going on. My legs are swollen up. So then I looked down at about halftime of that basketball game, and my calves were swollen up, and it was all the way up to my knees. And it started getting worse and worse. And my girlfriend at the time, Kathy, who's now my wife, happens to be an athletic trainer. So what an athletic trainer does is they take care of the players. They tape their ankles, they give them water, they take care of them if they're injured. So I asked her if I could go see the team doctor after the game, and I did. And I don't really go to doctors very often at this point. And perfectly healthy. I just think that maybe I've eaten some bad food or something, and something's going on. So I go back and I see this team doctor, and he got me in right after the players, and he said, hey, what have you been eating? I said, well, I've not been eating very well. He said, well, I think you've been eating too much salt. So what happens whenever you eat too much salt? A couple things happen. Number one, it raises your blood pressure. So all those salty foods like chips and fast food and things out of the freezer and things that are processed, lots of salt in it. So it raises your blood pressure. And it also makes it harder for your kidneys to get all the fluid out of your body. So whenever you go to the bathroom, whenever you urinate, that's your body getting rid of waste. And whenever you eat salt, it hangs on to that waste longer, and you retain more water. So that's why my legs were swollen, is because I had too much salt and my body was retaining that water, and it was getting into my legs. So my legs were so huge that I could barely walk. When I saw the team doctor, he suggested that I got a checkup. I had never had a checkup as an adult. I hadn't gone to the doctor since I went to college at the University of Tennessee years ago. So I went back home. I elevated my legs, and eventually, urinated what I needed to out, and I thought that was the end of it. But I did schedule a checkup with the team doctor, and they pricked my arm right here. So I know some of you guys might be scared of that, but it saved my life. So I went and got my arm pricked. I peed in a cup, and I waited for the results. Now, when you have kidney issues, that's how they diagnose those things. So they diagnosed me based off of my blood and my urine. I got a phone call back a couple days later from our team doctor that said, "Hey, there's a few things here that are kind of out of whack, and I would like for you to come back in." And I was really scared. And when I came back in, they took my blood pressure, and he looked at me funny and he said, "What have you eaten today?" I said, "Well, been eating just fine since you told me to." And my blood pressure was, try to remember, I think it was like 165 over 105. Now your blood pressure, the maximum of the safe range is 120 over 80. So I was very high. Again, I was healthy. I was 25 or 26 years old. Had no reason to be that high. That is a big indicator of kidney disease. Is if you have high blood pressure, you have protein in your urine, so they test it and they find that there's protein there. And then if you have in your blood, you have what's called a creatinine level. So creatinine is a protein that naturally occurs in your blood. And from what I understand, whenever your kidneys start to fail, the waste in your blood doesn't get cleared. So where if you have healthy kidneys, the waste gets cleared out of your blood, the waste gets put into your urine, and then you pee out the waste. So what happened with me is they diagnosed me with stage 3 IgA nephropathy. So what happened with that was basically my kidneys, which your kidneys are located on either side of your spine, right there in your back. They're underneath all your back muscles. My kidneys, as it came to find out, I am literally 1 in a million. My kidneys become scarred because my body thinks that they're foreign. So just like when you have allergies and you sneeze, my body was fighting off what it thought was waste and pollution by attacking my very own kidneys. So they were scarred. So basically your kidneys are like sponges. It cleans out all the waste, but if it gets scars, then it's unable to clean the waste. So my kidneys had scars, and they put me on plenty of medication to try to slow the scarring process. It really didn't work that well. So again, this is back in the summer of 2010. By the summer of 2011, my kidneys were only functioning 15% of what they should have been. So at that point, when doctors realize that your kidneys are failing, a nephrologist, which is a kidney doctor, a nephrologist will see you and determine that you either need to go on dialysis or you need to get a kidney transplant. So dialysis was option number one. I actually never had to be on dialysis. You may have grandparents or parents that are on dialysis. It is a machine that cleans your blood for you. And you have to do that about 3 times a week. With my job, as Miss Hayes will tell you, I work 60 to 70 hours a week. I'm at work all the time. So taking 3 days to do that just didn't make sense for me. So whenever I realized that I could get a kidney transplant, I had to be on the transplant list, and got on that, and then they advised me to ask someone in my family if they'd be willing to donate a kidney to me, which was a pretty difficult thing to have to deal with. But how that works is your body actually only needs one kidney to survive. Everybody has two kidneys, as long as you're born without any issues. But you can survive with one kidney. I actually have a friend here at Wright State who has one kidney. So you can actually take a kidney out of your body and donate it to somebody else and live perfectly normally. There's a lot of testing that has to go into that. I had to wait about 3 months to find a match. So they test based off of tissue samples, your blood type, and then the health of the person who's donating the kidney. So we found out, long story short, that my dad would be the best donor for the kidney. My dad is 55 years old. He is very healthy. He's a big guy like me, but he's always been very healthy. No health issues really to speak of. So they put him through every form of testing possible. They tested his heart, they tested his lungs, they tested his bones. They made him give lots of blood to make sure that everything was perfect. We were a perfect match. Like I said, he's a big guy like me, and so he had to lose some weight. And through all that, we had to learn about the surgery. So we'll get to that in a second, but he had to find out what the surgery looked like and what his recovery would be like. So in August of 2011, we had the surgery. We were approved about a month before the surgery. My parents and my entire family came down to Memphis, and by this point I was very, very sick. So throughout the past year or so, I had gotten really, really tired. So whenever you have kidney disease, your body starts to wear down because you have so much waste in your body. It makes you really tired. So just going to the grocery store or going to shopping or going to work every day was exhausting. Normally I'm a guy that has tons of energy. I'm ready to go all day long. I only have to sleep a few hours a night. And I got to where I needed about 10 to 12 hours of sleep every day. I had to sit down several times if I was going to the grocery store or just going to get something to eat or something really simple like that. I would have to sit down several times. So really tough for somebody that was active like me, but I spent about a year going to sleep at about 8 o'clock every night, getting up at about 7 or 8, going to work, coming home and sleeping the rest of the night, which wasn't like me at all. So anyway, whenever I realized I was going to get the transplant, my dad and I went in. The surgery only took about 4 or 5 hours. They did the surgery on him first, so they took his kidney out from his belly. They put it on ice. They sew him up and make sure that he's okay. They take the kidney over to me. I actually waited in a waiting room with Kathy, who's now my wife. I actually waited in a waiting room with her while they were operating on my dad. We heard that the kidney was ready to go. They wheeled me back. They gave me some medicine to make me go to sleep, and they operated on me. So they put the kidney in my body. So like I said, your kidneys are back in your back, under all your back muscles. But my new kidney, so that's where my bad kidneys were. My new good kidney, my dad's kidney, was put right here on the right side of my belly. So if you can touch your hip right there, My kidney is right up underneath my right hip bone. And they put it there. I have a little, it looks like a little half smiley face that's about 8 to 10 inches long, right under my waist. And if I'm wearing pants or a swimsuit or something, you really can only see about that much of the scar. So that's pretty cool. But they operated on me. They put the kidney in, sewed me up. I had 26 staples in my stomach. And they, as I woke up, they had to make sure that I was going to the bathroom okay. They tested all kinds of levels. And of course, whenever you get out of surgery, if any of you have ever had surgery, I was really tired, really worn out, and but I immediately felt better. I didn't have that groggy feeling. I didn't feel like I was needing to go to sleep. I immediately felt better. And the creatinine number that I told you about, that took a dip down. So I was healthy almost immediately. My body was getting flushed. I spent about 4 days in the hospital. My dad was there a little over a week. They told me about medication that I would have to take the rest of my life. So I am now, I don't have it with me, but I have a box of pills that I take every day, and I will take the rest of my life. Take medication every morning and every night before I go to bed. I take about 15 pills a day at this point in my life. That's down from about 25 pills that I was taking in the beginning. It's a lot of medication, but it doesn't really affect me on a day-to-day basis. I cleaned up my diet. That was the number one thing they told me. They said you have to eat right and you have to stay hydrated. So I never go anywhere with my water jugs over there, but I never go anywhere without my water. I drink 3 to 4 liters of water every day. So if you look at your 2-liter Coke, I drink 2 of those every day of water. And then I don't eat fried food. I also keep sodium down, so I don't add salt to anything. I don't eat a lot of stuff out of the freezer. I try to eat fresh stuff. I try to eat stuff that's baked or grilled, not fried. And staying hydrated is really, really important. I don't drink a lot of caffeine. I don't drink a lot of coffee or Coke or anything like that. So doing that's a good idea for anybody, but it's really, really important for me. So anyway, after the surgery, I was ready to go and back at work within 3 weeks. So I had a new organ in my body, and I was ready to go to work in 3 weeks. I was able to resume normal activity. I'm a big fan of playing basketball and lifting weights and playing golf. I was able to do that within about 3 months and just live a normal life. And it's been wonderful. Taking medication, watching my diet, and being careful is a big part of my life now. But I feel better now at age almost 30. But I feel better now than I did when I was 21 or 22 years old. And that's just because I'm eating healthier, taking care of myself, and I have a kidney that works 100% now. I go to the doctor about once a month to check up on everything. I get pricked in my arm a lot, but that's a small price to pay for being healthy and being happy. I can't thank my dad enough for what he did, and I'm actually really, really proud that this all happened to me. And it made my dad and I closer. It made my sister and I closer. It made my whole family closer. And I'm kind of a special little patient. A lot of people that have kidney disease are diabetic or very obese or haven't taken good care of themselves, and I was just afflicted with a random unlucky disease. But it's something I'm living with the rest of my life, and I actually don't mind living with it. And it's a kind of a cool story to tell. So I hope I didn't bore you, and I hope you asked Miss Hayes some questions. And I don't know if she's allowed to have her phone at school, but maybe she can call me if you guys have any questions. But I'm happy to answer them. Well, I got to get to work, back to work here. I'll show you my office really quick, and I got to get back to work because we've got basketball games this week. All right, I'll show you the office really quick. This is one of our suites here. They're actually testing some stuff outside. This is our basketball arena. This is called the Wright State Nutter Center. That's our baseball team that's training over there. Our track team's also running in here. Pretty cool place. Anyway, I gotta get back to work. So thanks for having me. Call me with any questions, sis. Thank you. Love you. Bye.